Hey there, Python programmers. Today we're going to keep talking about class syntax and move on to methods. So I want to say methods are one of the really great reasons why we might want to make a class. And while we're going to define, well, we defined our first one in the last video with a constructor, but we'll do a few more today. We have already been using methods. So if we remember some of the things like are different data types. Here, toys is a list. Name and color are both strings. Well, each time we create a list or a string, it's actually an instance of the list or string class. And because of that, we have methods we can use. So if we, simple one would be string, that's a string dot upper. That is a method on the string class that has instructions on how to print out or return the uppercase value of whatever string we provide. Let's give it a quick run and we can see that method in action. Boom. And boom, right here we see we have hello printed all in upper class. So again, our list methods, things like append, extend, those are all methods to the class. Now, there are a couple different types of methods, and we're going to focus on what I would call an instance method at first, or maybe we might call them self methods. These are specifically methods attached to the instance of a cat class, and basically they aren't a class method or a static method, which are two other types of methods, and we're going to be talking about those soon enough. So, if you want to define an instance method, very similar to our constructor. We got to give it a name. Now, I think we'd like our cats to be able to talk or speak. So let's do that. We 100% have to have self. That needs to be our first argument. That can be our only argument or parameter. We don't need to have more. But what that is doing is telling Python that this speak method is going to be attached to the class of cat. And if we think of this self thing, really it's kind of a placeholder. Because if we look down here, when we create a brand new cat and create an instance of that cat and save it to a variable named blue, pretty much now blue is going to take the place of self throughout the class. Here we're doing blue.name. Well, again, self.name is blue's specific name to that instance. So hopefully maybe that tells us a little bit more about self. Now, if we wanted more arguments, parameters, we could take them in after self. But again, for an instance method, self does need to be the first one. This can be a super simple method. We're just going to have it return simple F string. We can do that because we want to hear the cat say meow, right? Now, if we want to have the cat's name, why not? Let's put it in there. So self dot name says, and nice that we kind of have double quotes on the outside. We can use single quotes and just a simple MEOW, maybe exclamation. Cool. Now, how do we make this happen? Well, again, how we made our string method work, or in fact, let's go ahead. For now, we're going to have to print because we made it return blue.speak. And again, we're going to remember these are methods, so we do have to invoke them. Really, they're just functions that are attached to our class. And now we've got blue saying meow to us. Pretty cool. Hey, why not get patch in there as well? Because again, the benefit is we defined it in the class definition. So now every single instance of that class is going to get the benefit of the speak method. They are both talking to us. Cool. Just a general convention is you probably want 2 lines of space between your methods just to again show that you are separating them, although there's no rule on that. Python will let you put them right after each other, but that's not very readable. So why this is an instance method, we are again attached to self, but we are also acting or interacting with the attributes. And anytime you interact with the attributes or values, again, you're going to probably want an instance method. Now, these methods are really what start to make classes, again, much more useful, a little bit better than a dictionary. In the first video, when we only had these attributes and all we could really do was print on it, it kind of felt like, hey, we just made a really complicated dictionary. But now that we're able to have the methods, that's really where classes shines. Let's make a second one just for, experience and practice. How about we make a play with one of the toys, right? We have a list of toys. Why don't we let our cat play with it? Let's real quickly though, maybe let's let them play with a random toy. So let's do from random. Let's import choice. Again, choice is great for a list because you just provide the list to choice. It does all the mechanics of randomly picking a single value from it. So that is the built-in, again, this is a method in the random class. Let's do a brand new instance method. We're going to say, let's call it play with toy. Could we want just a general play one? Maybe. And it can probably be pretty similar to our speak method. So let's return cat string and maybe a name, right? So we know which cat is playing with which toy. So name plays with their, and then what we can do here is just do choice on self dot toys. That's what we called it, right? TS. Oh, cool. And now what we should be able to do is have one of our cats play with a toy. So blue will, and why play with toy, and gotta invoke it because it's a method so similar to a function. Again, like these define the same way we would define a function. The only reason or the way Python knows it's a method is because we have defined it inside of a class block. So anything inside of that class block with the def word is going to be or def keyword is going to be a function. All right, let's give it a run and let's see a toy. Blue plays with their yarn. Blue plays with their toy mouse. Blue plays with their toy mouse again, their ball. So we see it is randomly picking from that list. Again, pretty cool. And I think this is a good place to stop. Again, this is our instant method, so we will continue on with the other types of methods in our next set of lectures.